Everyone, this is Dr. Ben and Dr. Michelle with Treble Health. We're going to talk about overcoming challenges and how that's exactly what we need to do to overcome tinnitus. Think about a time in your life that has been challenging. Maybe that's related to a relationship, health condition, workplace issue, friendships, failure, career pressure, or anything else. And think about how you learn to overcome that challenge and be the very person that you are today. For many people who are going through challenging tinnitus, moderate to severe levels of tinnitus, this is right up there as one of their most challenging moments, one of their most challenging experiences in life. We've had patients tell us that it was easier for them to live with cancer and cancer treatment than it was for their tinnitus. This is a big problem, and it's something that you can overcome with the right tools, mindset, and psychological principles. Dr. Michelle and I are going to go deeper into this subject. Let's start first with different health conditions, how the diagnosis of different health conditions like body pain, cancer, something's wrong, something's off in your body, but individuals can overcome that. And let's look at how that's a great example for tinnitus and how we can use that model to push us through.
Yeah, I think it's really helpful to remember that tinnitus is a sensory input that our brain is receiving and we are attending to. And there's so many other sensory inputs that we regularly receive on a daily basis. Our sense of touch, sense of taste, sense of smell, sense of sight. And all of these things that we're constantly being bombarded with, our brain is choosing whether or not to attend to, pay attention, focus on, let it bother us, let us ignore it. And so I think oftentimes when we start to take down tinnitus take it off of its pedestal and start to relate it more to things and challenges and experiences that we've had throughout our lifetime, it really helps us to change the way that we start to view tinnitus. And it allows us to start to heal and improve and eventually get to that point that we all want for anyone who has tinnitus, which is to habituate to tinnitus, not let it affect you, not let it bother you, not let your mind even think about it.
Michelle and I both have tinnitus to a milder degree. For those who have more severe, more significant tinnitus, try to look at examples of other individuals or maybe your own self who's overcome something challenging related to their health. Cancer, arthritis, an injury, a knee replacement, hip replacement, breaking a bone, falling and injuring oneself, but then repairing and being able to live a normal, healthy, functioning life. The same principles apply for managing tinnitus. There's a rehabilitation process, there's treatments, tools that we need to follow. And when you can do that properly, you'll be on the other side of it and perhaps still manage it to some degree, but definitely have overcome the most challenging part of it. And in my experience, the first 6 months, the first 12 months, depending on what someone's going through, is often the time when it's the most challenging, when we need to get our mindset appropriately. We need to have the right expectations, have the right encouragement, and have optimism. There's plenty of negativity in the world, plenty of negativity on the internet about tinnitus. Oh, this is so bad. This is killing me. I can't believe I have to live with this. This is so challenging. It is challenging to live with, there's no doubt. And it is a burden in many ways. However, the research and the science is clear that those who are reinforcing negative thoughts and negative behaviors around tinnitus actually make it harder to overcome and get through this period. So think about that. And we're going to talk about some ways where we can have the right mindset and the right frame of reference moving forward.
Yes, I'd like to preface too, though, that oftentimes when people are in like the beginning stages where tinnitus is greatly affecting them, they do start to kind of like retreat from things and people and activities that they used to participate in. I say it's kind of like a turtle going back into their shell. It's a normal human reaction when we're experiencing some kind of threat. We'll try to protect ourselves, and that's usually by disengaging with the threat or what we believe might cause more of an issue for us. So if you're experiencing that, know that it is a very common reaction when one is having tinnitus. But ultimately, in order for you to get better, you have to start to retreat back out of your shell, start to get back into the everyday life that you used to have before tinnitus came into play. And in many ways, start to rebuild your confidence. So again, this is a challenge, but it's a challenge like any of the others that you have encountered throughout your lifetime. And you kind of have to get back into the swing of things in order for your brain and body to start to change the way that it's actually reacting and perceiving and feeling towards tinnitus.
Someone has had challenges in the workplace, and many of us have had disagreements at work with our boss or a coworker. Something just didn't feel quite right. And many of those times we overcame that situation through communication and by putting things in perspective and allowing time to help us. The same principle can be used for tinnitus. So if you've gone through a challenging workplace issue where you thought, oh my God, I can't stand this. This is not going to work for me. This is so challenging. I need to leave. I need to escape. But you got through it and you worked it out, and now you're happy and living a normal, situation at work. Perhaps that's also something you can lean on if that's been your experience, to say, you know what, I've overcame this there. Why can't I overcome this now?
Yeah, I think putting into perspective how many other challenges, problems, issues one has had in their life, and remembering how it felt in that moment. And it probably felt like something so big, so large, like something that was so difficult to overcome, or something that you would never learn how to deal with it. But yet, if you think back to it in terms of how it's impacting you today, it's probably not even close to what it felt like then. And that's exactly what I've seen with my patients that I've worked with who have tinnitus, that, I always say what it feels like today is not what it's going to feel like tomorrow. Our problems always seem bigger when we're in the moment, but life moves on, our brain and body heals itself. We learn how to adapt and change. And in time, what may have seemed like a large issue becomes such a minor issue, or to the point that one doesn't even remember it. I mean, when I think back to when I had tinnitus and it was affecting my ability to sleep, this was like 12 or 13 years ago. I didn't even remember that I had tinnitus when I first interviewed with Dr. Ben to join his team. He asked me, did I have personal experience? I said, yes, of course, the random bouts of tinnitus that we all get that are quite normal. But I completely forgot about the several months of tinnitus that I was struggling trying to fall asleep because it was just like a loud seashell in my right ear. And I think that really showed me how much one could have an issue that really impacts a large part of your life. For example, mine being able to sleep, and how it has become such a distant memory that I forgot entirely about it. I feel like I was actually working solely with tinnitus patients for almost 6 months before it even re-entered my mind, and I remembered this period of my life. And I like to share that because I feel like, again, there's so many instances where we've had challenges that we completely block out, and or maybe can later on remember. And it really helps you to see how, again, tinnitus right now, today, seems like a really big problem, is really impacting you. That 100% is true, but it doesn't mean that this is going to be an issue that's ongoing. Or again, like the rule of logic, sometimes I like to tell my patients, just as quickly and suddenly as tinnitus came on, it could vanish on its own as well. Tinnitus, as we come to know it, sometimes doesn't really follow like a set routine, a set pattern. There's nothing that we can really define, okay, I do this and then this happens. So it's also, I feel like, a really positive outlook to have, that because it doesn't have a set pathway, it can also your pathway with tinnitus can change just as suddenly as you kind of came into having tinnitus in your life.
This is an interruption from today's podcast episode to announce the winner of the weekly Sunday Treble Health giveaway. Every week, we give away some of the most helpful tools to help you manage tinnitus, and all you have to do to qualify to be a winner is to subscribe to our YouTube channel, number one, and number two, go to treble.health/giveaway. Again, that's treble.health/giveaway, and put in your email address to join our email list. And with those two pieces of information, you'll be qualified to enter. This week's giveaway winner will receive a Sound Oasis BST100 sound machine. This device has almost 20 unique sounds that can be played for tinnitus, and it even has a computer chip that holds the sounds inside of the device. It does not rely on Bluetooth. This can help with your work from home station, your office, helping falling asleep at night. It has crickets, white noise, pink noise. Overall, it's a great product for sound therapy. So make sure you follow the link, treble.health/giveaway. It will be posted in the description of this video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can qualify to win free tinnitus tools and sound therapy equipment. The results will be announced every Sunday during our weekly podcast episodes. This week's winner is Robert K. Robert, I hope you enjoy your new sound therapy. Now let's get back to the Tinnitus Relief Podcast. I see that it takes time to heal and get better, and boom, it can come on. It can come on really suddenly, like you had mentioned. A lot of times, stress, emotional challenges, anxiety, mental health is wrapped around tinnitus, and it all sort of becomes one shared experience in a way. And we keep pointing back to the constant ringing sound in the head, the tinnitus, as the main factor or reason for it. But in our experience, speaking with patients every day, helping our clients get through tinnitus, we get to understand their stories. And a very common story is that in the months leading up to tinnitus, say in the 6-month time window, 3-month time window leading up to tinnitus, that there was time of significant stress in one's life. And that can be related to retirement, changing your lifestyle. It can be, I had a patient who was going through severe stress because she was moving and leaving New York City and moving down to a more rural place in the southern United States. Well, it was really intense for her to change her whole life, leave her job, leave her friends, leave her family, leave her apartment, go through all of that logistics and challenges. And then her tinnitus got much worse in that process. Now, she didn't really connect the dots until we had that discussion, and I explained how part of the brain and body system, which connects stress and keeps us alert, keeps us alive, how that can accidentally point to tinnitus as a threat and make the tinnitus louder, so we pay more attention to it, so we stay alive. In our fight or flight evolutionary response, that's what we've been designed to do. So just as friendship issues, failure, financial crisis, workplace issues, health crisis, health issues, career pressures, retirement related stress can wrap around a lot of anxiety, mental health challenges, insomnia. So can tinnitus. So it really becomes a global psychological, brain network effect, where the tinnitus affects our sleep, our attention, our concentration, our stress, our anxiety, and it all gets morphed into one. Just like those other situations, we've overcome it, and the anxiety and stress and sleep has returned to normal or near normal levels. That's exactly what we see in our most successful tinnitus patients. So follow the systems that we lay out here and work with a specialist, get help, because we can overcome this in the same way too.
Yeah, it reminded me of a patient of mine that I worked with who felt like their tinnitus really started to spiral along the same time that they had lost their job. And all of a sudden their lifestyle really changed, because they went from, and this was also around COVID, so they went from going to a job to now losing their job and now being at home and basically taking on a lot of the childcare responsibilities that they didn't have before. And the pressure of trying to find their new identity, also trying to find a new job, which was difficult at the time. But through this, it was tinnitus and anxiety and then stress were really all tied into one, just like Dr. Ben had said, and trying to figure out that the stress and anxiety really came primarily from the loss of the job and trying to find a new job, trying to figure out how they were going to fit in working again with now their newfound family life responsibilities. And with time, they found a new job, and, within a matter of weeks of getting back into that new job, the stress and anxiety started to kind of lift off of them. And lo and behold, so did the tinnitus. And I think it had a lot to do with the loss of the stress and anxiety, but I think it also had a lot to do with the fact that now in a new job, he had so much more to focus on, so much more to pay attention and learn. And his mind was just elsewhere now. Whereas before that, his mind was a little bit more open to be able to focus on the tinnitus and think about it, think about applying for jobs and being stressed out about that. And now everything that he used to think about, he no longer really had to think about. And he had all these new things that he had to think about that, in essence, replaced all of those thoughts that he once had with tinnitus. So certainly, I think lifestyle changes, career changes, relationship changes, health changes have a huge impact on tinnitus, but oftentimes we kind of forget about the relationship that the stress and anxiety because of those things have. And the tinnitus is just kind of like a subsidiary of that.
Let us know, is your tinnitus possibly caused by stress? Let us know on YouTube here in the comments. And above us right now, you'll see another video episode podcast I did with Dr. Sarah Matthews about consistency and how important that is. Thanks, guys. Bye.